This is Chris Lancy with the Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing issued late Sunday, September 24th, 2023, and valid through September 29th, Friday. In summary, for the tropical North Atlantic, we do have Tropical Storm Philippe. Peak winds are forecast to reach up to 60 knots. It may become a hurricane. Seas are expected to build up to 30 feet maximum by Friday. Gulf of Mexico, no tropical cyclones or gales expected, but there is a disturbance being monitored that could develop. And in the Caribbean, again, no tropical cyclones or gales expected, as Philippe should remain north of the islands. The surface analysis from 18 UTC on Sunday, September 24th. Tropical Storm Philippe with max winds 45 knots, peak seas 20 feet, well east of the Lesser Antilles at this point. Farther to the east, a broad low and a tropical wave at about 26 west longitude will be monitored for tropical development. Another wave in the Central Caribbean, not doing anything except enhancing some of the trades. And then finally, over the southeast Gulf of Mexico, the northern extent of a surface trough will be monitored for development over the next few days. The current tropical weather outlook, in addition to showing Tropical Storm Philippe, has two other areas of interest. In the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, that weak trough of low pressure is going to drift westward slowly for the next couple days. It has a low chance of developing into a tropical cyclone, but by midweek, upper level winds will preclude any further development at that point. Way to the east, south-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, is that tropical wave. It has a medium chance of developing over the next 7 days. If it does develop, that hatched area is the area that it's expected to develop. For Tropical Storm Philippe itself, it's currently located about 1,135 nautical miles west of the Cabo Verde Islands. Peak winds are 45 knots within that orange area, showing the tropical storm force winds, and peak seas about 20 feet. It's moving currently off toward the west-northwest at about 10 knots. It's expected to turn gradually toward the northwest at about the same rate of speed over the next 5 days and not directly impact any of the islands of the Caribbean. It's also expected that Philippe will intensify some, but at this point it's not expected to become a hurricane. This shows the earliest reasonable time of arrival as given by the contour lines, and the colors represent the tropical storm wind speed probabilities for Philippe. And so the yellow colors, for example, show a 30% chance or more of tropical storm winds, and the dark green show a 5% or more. So for example, if you're expected to be at 20 north and 55 west, you would have about a 25% chance of tropical storm force winds at that location over the next 5 days. And those winds could occur as early as Tuesday night. So you can see from the envelope of the tropical storm wind speed probabilities that none of them overlap the Caribbean. So no tropical storm winds are expected for the Caribbean ports or islands. However, Bermuda should monitor the progress of Philippe because it could affect that island later this week or early next weekend. So the wind and wave conditions forecast for 12 UTC Monday morning. In the Gulf of Mexico is that trough that we don't anticipate it to spin up, but it's a possibility. We continue to have fresh to strong trades over the Caribbean, producing up to 10-foot seas. And then Tropical Storm Philippe expected to still be about 45 knots or so tomorrow morning, with peak seas maybe about 25 feet by tomorrow morning. At 48 hours, this would be for Tuesday morning. The trough in the Gulf of Mexico is progressing westward, but without much development expected. The winds in the Caribbean drop off a bit after the passage of that tropical wave down to fresh, and seas down to about 8 feet. And Tropical Storm Philippe, as it's still moving west-northwest, and in red shows the seas of at least 15 feet. By this point, the seas would reach about 25 feet. Forecast for Wednesday, 12 UTCZ. Gulf of Mexico, exceedingly quiet winds, and the Caribbean likewise with peak winds in the trades in the Caribbean, only moderate conditions. Tropical Storm Philippe, again expected to be about a 50-knot tropical storm at this point. Yellow denotes at least 12-foot seas and some swell starting to expand outward from the center of the storm, as shown in green, which is at least 10-foot seas. Forecast for Thursday morning, UTC, the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean remain quiet. Tropical Storm Philippe starting to get a bit larger in size and expected to be about 50 to 60 knot winds, peak winds. And you can see on the right side it shows the seas with yellow of at least 12 foot and the green of at least 10-foot seas. So starting to have an expansion, but no impacts on land at this point. And then on Friday morning, again, Philippe a little bit larger and stronger, perhaps 60-knot winds. And you can see the area of 12-foot seas in yellow is expanding, but still the swells are not impacting any of the islands or Bermuda at this point. So to wrap up, Tropical Storm Philippe is the big story today and the next few days. We are expecting it to become a high-end tropical storm. It could reach hurricane force and peak seas building to 30 feet by Friday. Gulf of Mexico, nothing going on except a weak disturbance. We are monitoring it for tropical development, but it's not expected. And then the Caribbean, as Philippe stays north of the islands, no direct tropical storm impacts and at least no swell for the next 5 days. So this concludes your Tropical Atlantic Marine Weather Briefing. Our next briefing will be Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on September 28th. And you can always get the latest marine forecast conditions at hurricanes.gov/marine. Have a good day.